Hey, all you maker dads and digital dads and some of you moms. Today we're going to do a kids project with stuff from the supermarket. Let's go. Hey, how's it going? Anthony Fro here, Create Sci-Fi. Today we're going to do a simple project with the kids. I get a lot of emails from dads who do these projects that I show on this channel with their kids. Sometimes high school teachers, that's always really cool. And, you know, maybe some moms. I don't want to leave out the moms, but according to YouTube analytics, there's 0.5% of you out there. But if you're there, welcome. And, I encourage you. So what's really cool about this is that, even the people that watch this channel that like this stuff but are kind of not really interested in doing it, but they find it interesting. I'm the same, right? So I watch like Alex Steele. He's a kid in the UK. He has a blacksmith channel. I love that channel. I watch every video that comes out, but I am never going to forge steel, right? But it's like, so that's kind of like the cooking show or the home shopping network or like when they flip houses. You just kind of watch that because it's interesting to you, right? So for you people out there that are, never probably going to actually do this stuff, but you find it interesting, even though it's a kid's project, this might be something for you to kind of have fun with. Anyway, enough about that. So what I did is I went to the supermarket, and so I want to make this with only stuff from the supermarket, right? So I found like this cleaning bottle, which, I figured that can be like the handle, this hair gel, just because it's an interesting bottle. And then I went to like, every supermarket has that craft corner or whatever, and just got some brushes, some glue, just so that it was like everything from the supermarket, right? So it's like these brushes, the glue. And I'm not going to spray paint. That's the only thing I didn't get at the supermarket. I'm going to paint it with like just hobby paints, right? I'm pretty sure most kids have those. If you don't, they're pretty easy to get. And, because typically I would spray paint, but because we want to make this kid friendly and sort of like a weekend project or after school, I'm just going to paint it by hand, right? Just to use glue, no sandpaper, right? We got the sponges, we'll sand it, and it'll just be a fun project, right? So let's take a look at what I have here to work with. Like I said, I'm going to stick to all this except for, the paint. All right, so let's dive in. All right, do the dishes. Yeah, the night before, ideally, or, a couple days before, you want to just clean out all the gunk. Or if it's recycled, make sure that they're clean, not dirty. Or, whatever you're using for these, if it's hair gel or cleaning solution, get rid of all that before you start. So here I'm just doing the old what makes sense, right? Sticking two things together that have never been stuck together before. We want to keep this really simple. So I'm just drawing a line. Now I'm overcompensating here because, we're going to dial it in, right? We're going to sneak up on it. So just cutting out here, be careful. We're doing this with scissors. This is all, something that I want to gear towards doing supervised with kids. So, no box cutters, no X-Acto knives, just with the scissors. And, you got to be careful with the scissors too, because what I'm realizing as I'm doing this, it can get a little unruly around the corners, so you just got to take care. So here I'm sneaking up on it. I'm like, okay, the profile looks good. Let's dip this in here, So, I would leave it up to the kids to try to figure it out themselves. I mean, you're just cutting plastic. There's really nothing to lose here. And yeah, so I'm just trying to make this look like a gun, right? There's no plans, there's no directions, there's no cut 2 inches here or, take part A with part B. It's like, okay, we got a handle and we got a barrel. Let's make a blaster. I think if, you stick this to this, we'll get this. And there you can see, like, I'm sneaking up on the profile. It's like I had no idea what I was going to make before we started. And then now I'm like, oh, okay, I can screw the cap back on. And yeah, that'll help tie it all together. And again, that's why I think this is fun to do with kids, because there is no directions. There's no like, make sure you put the cap aside so you can use that later. No, I don't know. I just figured that out just now, right? So have at it. And like I said, it's funny, I'm making this simpler, but cutting it with the scissors, I realize like, oh, that's a challenge. But yeah, definitely don't want to give the kids box cutters. So, all right, so now I'm screwing this on, and, it takes me a couple tries because, like I said, it just occurred to me to do that just now. And we're starting to have a space gun. All right? It's like, yeah. And I'm always looking at it in the camera, always looking at the profile. Because, like I said before, we're creeping up on it. Here's just an old soda cap I had. And I'm going to use that to replace, that's where the spray trigger was for I think this was carpet cleaner maybe. So now, I just have, just a nail file. I would think most people have that, or you can use, steel wool or something. And just cleaning up the edges here, just, making things less ragged. And then I'll also use that to just scratch it up a little for when we glue it. And now, broken record, but I guess I'm trying to get this point across. We're just sneaking up on it, right? So now I'm like, okay, let me round off those corners. That'll look better. It'll work better. Let me smooth these out. And this is just an emery board, and I think it's good to work with tools like this with kids because it's like it should be familiar to them. This is not like sandpaper from the hardware store. It's a nail file. And then here, this is my substitute with kids for sandpaper, right? It's like this is just a sponge, and it has like the abrasive surface there, which is still very soft. And here we're just going to tooth this up just for when we put the glue and the paint on there. Now, it's not going to stick perfectly to this. I'll get into that later. But, we're just doing a craft project, right? We're not doing a prop replica. And then here's the paintbrushes that I got from the supermarket. I have a whole can of paintbrushes on my side, but I just want to use the supermarket stuff for this. So now I'm going to take piece of little scrap cardboard, which is always good. You want to, because otherwise stuff gets everywhere. And it just got some white Elmer's glue, right? So put some glue in here. Use the paintbrush. I mean, you could use your fingers. Why not? I do recall enjoying peeling Elmer's glue off of my hands, right? I think every one of us at some point painted our entire hand with Elmer's glue and peeled it off. And then now, so those surfaces that we kind of scraped up with the nail file or with the sponge, right, with the abrasive side, now we're just going to glue it together, right? Elmer's glue, sticky, kind of gets everywhere, but we're not being pristine with this. This is like more like finger painting. Right, so here, just put a little bit of glue in there, and it's not super glue, it's not epoxy, so, this stuff will come apart, but, we're crafting. This is so unusual for me, but, it was fun, it was interesting. So now that I got those gluing together, and it's, like I said, I came up with that little idea with the cap to make that work. And I don't know if I do it here, but what I'm going to do eventually is I'm going to paint the entire thing with white glue, right? So it's like a poor man's Mod Podge or a child's version. You would do it with Mod Podge, but I do it with the glue just to give it a better chance of staying together. Now, right, it's starting to, that's a space gun if you got a little imagination, right? You're like conquering planets, fighting with aliens. So now I'm just going through, right now we're going to do the greeblies, right? So typically I do the greeblies with my model kits and my, my bins that are labeled with model pieces. Now it's just, here's some of the scrap pieces of plastic. And we're just going to cut some shapes, right? We're just going to add a little visual interest to our blaster. And here, again, there's nothing to download with this video, and there's a template for this. I'm just start cutting stuff out, and I guess if I was doing this with a kid, I'd be like, what about this? Why don't you try this? That looks neat. And then here, right, so this serves no purpose, just to be like, oh, okay, it's a little something. Slather on the Elmer's glue. And I'm not going to lie, in between takes, when I went to get a drink, it was enjoyable peeling Elmer's glue off of my fingers. Just one of those mysteries of life, why that's so enjoyable. And you see there, it's all like dirty and, stuck to my fingers, but, that's all good. And here I'm just doing little details. I'm cutting little triangles. I'm going to glue little triangles on the side. And the real reason for doing this, like when I'm doing actual props, is it just, when we do the paint job, it just gives it different layers, gives it shadows, so there it's just right. It's just that plain surface. But as soon as you just put this piece of plastic on there, right, it breaks that up. And then once you put paint on there, it creates shadows. It'll reflect light differently, right? But, that's just for the adults. For the kids, it's just, more stuff to glue on there. And then here, I decided, okay, one last thing, right? I'm going to do like a little scope type deal. And here, I'm just folding this. I mean, there was something liberating about this for me, where it's like, okay, I'm going to cut a triangle. That looks good. And I'm joking saying this all just sort of casually, but, that's kind of the spirit that I really want to get across for this. It's just a craft day. Like, let's just, okay, good. We got a triangle now. Let's glue this on here. And stuff, this is video, this is me editing this, but, in real time, stuff's sliding all over the place, doesn't quite fit. And you're starting to see what's going to happen. And again, I'll talk about this later, is, and the surface is all rough and rugged. That's fine. It's just, when I'm doing this for real, it's what I always talk about. It's just about the silhouette, right? So that's fine. I just stuck that on there. And again, nothing to download here. Just sort of, hey, let's stick something on there. Yeah, that looks good. Let's, I don't know, put a thumbprint on there. That could be good. And now I'm starting to think, okay, that's good. And again, because this is a kid's thing, I didn't want to make the barrel look realistic. So I just, if this was a prop, I would probably bore that out so that there's a hole, but this is fine. And then the hairdryer, depending on the comfort level, either you do this or the kids will do that. The hairdryer just helps to move things along, right? And I know attention spans are short, so the hairdryer just helps to move between steps. Now you see there, now I'm showing you, like, see, the glue is just starting to peel off there, right? And I'm just going to put more on there. But my point is, it's going to be funky, right? But it's this craft project to put more glue on there. Then we're going to be sticking glue to glue, and then paint to glue, and then paint to paint. So yeah, just my point is, I guess, don't sweat it, right? Rule number 1, don't sweat the small stuff. Rule number 2, it's all small stuff. And, you just see my hands, but there's a smile on my face. I'm having fun doing this, right? Because it's just, okay, it's better than watching TV. And so now I'm putting glue on the whole thing. Like I said, if this was like a real prop, it's like a Mod Podge, and you're just trying to give, these plastic containers are meant to be like resistant to stains and to the liquids that they contain. So, they don't really want you to be putting paint on them. So we're just trying to give ourselves a better chance. And then here, like I said, I think in the beginning, I'm just brushing on paint, right? If I was doing this for one of my projects, I would certainly spray paint this. But I think kids are comfortable and used to painting stuff, right, with a brush. So what's interesting too is it gives it a whole other personality when you paint it with a brush. And it's all rough and tumble from the glue, right? Nothing smooth, and it's starting to... But then, now in the back of my head, if I ever have to do something that's like supposed to be like organic, right? Or like not technical, this process could work, right? So now I just file that away, right? Okay, so here I'm just showing you, like, see how bumpy that is? It's fine, but it's the silhouette. And if I didn't jam it in your face like that, it wouldn't be as noticeable. Now this, I don't think is a leap. I thought about this, I took pause. I think, let's show the kids how to dry brush, right? It's like, I think this is a good technique to share with kids because you get a really cool professional result, and it couldn't be simpler, right? You don't want a lot of paint on the brush, and you're just kissing the surface, right? Just barely with a dry brush, and it gives it that metallic look. They're going to see that it's sort of all of a sudden, right? It's like magical. It's like all of a sudden this thing looks like metal. Very simple process, and sloppy is okay, right? Like, this is the kind of thing where you can have many, many, many happy accidents. There's no, oh, okay, we got to do this perfectly because we're making, no, it's take a dry brush and go crazy. Go nuts. Again, with the hairdryer, like I said, either you do this step or, let the kids have at it. And like I said, this is honestly just because of the attention span, right? So you want to keep the train rolling. And now, again, since it's a kid's project, I'm using purple metallic paint. I don't think I've ever painted anything purple, but it's funny because I was thinking about it. And when I was a little kid, I hadn't thought about this in forever. When I was a little kid, my favorite color was purple. I had purple shirts, purple socks, anything purple. So, yeah, it was fun to sort of get out of my head and just say, you know what? I'm just going to paint this purple. And, it's whatever, I'm doing it black and purple. I don't know, maybe your kid likes red or pink, so you paint the whole thing pink. That's fine. Hair drying it. Man, it's really amazing. Like, I have all these tools, how much I just use the hairdryer. So here, this is me I have nail polish, if somebody in your house has nail polish and they'll let you borrow it. It's just easier. I just want to add some dots to this. You could totally just do this with whatever your craft paints are. But I just find it's easier to do dots with the nail polish because it's thicker. Yeah, just not the girls wearing the nail polish anymore. Anybody in the house could have nail polish. Then we're going to hit this with a clear coat. Now that's optional, right? I would recommend the parents do that. And I'm just sealing this in. Took every fiber of my being not to weather it. And you can totally skip that step, right? You don't have to seal anything in. But I just did it just to do it. Probably to wean myself off of wanting to weather. And I just glued that little pop cap there on the bottom. And then here's some close-up shots. It's funky. It's rough. But it's a kid's craft project. And I think, for what it is, I'm just hoping that I just want this to inspire you to give it a shot, right? And then, what's the worst that can happen? You could just have a little bit of fun. And there you go. Yeah, that'll work. That came out all right. All right, very simple. Took every fiber of my being not to weather it. But I think that'd be tough to explain to a kid. Oh, that thing you just spent all that time on made nice. Let's just cover it in brown paint. What do you mean? So like I said, very simple. I think a kid could approach this. And, if you're a first-time maker or somebody who's just curious, I think you could take these principles and do exactly this, or kick it up a notch and make not so kid-like with dots and stuff, or whatever. But yeah, I think that was a lot of fun. Just some stuff from the supermarket. Just kind of illustrates that what I always say on this channel. It's just about silhouettes. It's like if we're doing like some kind of fun space movie or where kids just playing guns, it's like you're not going to look at it like this. It's going to be like, oh, hey, yeah. Like, oh, and that's all it is. So I guess the only thing left to do now is fire it up. Well, kids, don't try this at home without your parents' supervision. Let's see what this can do. Oh, okay. Dial it up. Whoa! Nice. Quick one. Oh. Got a lot of kick. Well, as always, I hope you found this video useful. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Love to read the comments. Check out the merch shop. We got the hats, shirts. Buying those really helps support the channel so I can keep making these videos. And remember, I'm just here to help make sci-fi.